Hello everyone and welcome to Learn German for Beginners with Vardhan. In this lesson, we will be understanding what is a verb, its structure and its functions. Lektion 16 Verbstruktur. Once again, Lektion 16 Verbstruktur. That means lesson 16 verb structure. Let's first look at the learning objectives of this lesson. Firstly, we will be learning what is a verb. Then we will discuss the structure of a verb. And finally, we will learn what are regular and irregular verbs. Let's learn the first part. Was sind Verben? Once again, was sind Verben? That means, what are verbs? Here is an example. Ich wohne in Paris. That means, I live in Paris. The verb here is wohne, that is, to live. I live in Paris. Here you can notice that a verb describes an action. The structure of the sentence depends on the verb. Now we will learn how it happens. Verbstruktur. Once again, Verbstruktur. That means verb structure. Let us analyze a verb that you have already learned. Kommen. That means to come. This form of the verb is known as the infinitive form of the verb. Every infinitive form has a stem or the verb stem and an ending or endung. All the verbs in infinitive form have either the ending en or n. In this way, you can organize the infinitive form of the verb very easily. Let us look at some other verbs in their infinitive form that you should know. Lernen. Once again, lernen. That means to learn. Machen. Once again, machen. That means to do. Sprechen. Once again, sprechen. That means to speak. Spielen. Once again, spielen. That means to play. Hören. Once again, hören. That means to hear. Heißen. Once again, heißen. That means to be called. The best way to remember a verb is to remember it in its infinitive form. But when we use the verb in a sentence, that verb has to be conjugated. Verb conjugation. Once again, verb conjugation. That means verb conjugation. Here is an example. Ich spreche Deutsch. That means I speak German. The conjugation of the verb depends on the subject. In this sentence, the subject is ich. We have done this personal pronoun in the previous lesson. So the verb you pick up has to be conjugated according to the subject in the sentence. The verb conjugation in German is very simple. You first take the stem of the verb or the verb stem and add the ending to it. But how would you know which ending to take? Well, this depends on the subject. We will be doing this in detail in the next lessons. However, the conjugation of the verb depends on two important things. Firstly, the person. Are you talking to the first person or the second person or the third person? Same also applies to things. Secondly, also on whether this person or thing is in singular or in plural. And for all these, we have some pronouns which we have learnt in lesson 15. So every verb is conjugated according to the personal pronouns. In German, there are two basic types of verbs. Regular verbs and irregular verbs. regelmäßiger Verben und unregelmäßiger Verben. Once again, regelmäßiger Verben und unregelmäßiger Verben. Now let's learn what these verbs are. Regelmäßiger Verben, which are also known as schwache Verben. Once again, schwache Verben, that means weak verbs. In these verbs, we just take the stem of the verb or the verb stem and add the ending to it according to the subject in the sentence. In these verbs, the stem of the verb doesn't change at all. For example, machen, that means to do. The verb stem is mark and the ending of the infinitive verb is en. When we conjugate this verb, we keep the verb stem and just add the ending to it according to the subject. That is, in this case, ich is the subject. The conjugated verb will be mache. This is because with the pronoun ich, the verb ending should always be e. Hence we have the verb stem, mark, and the ending e. Ich mache. Now let's learn about unregelmäßige Verben. That means irregular verbs, which are also known as starke Verben. Once again, starke Verben, that means strong verbs. In these verbs, the verb stem can be changed in certain cases. Let's take the verb heißen. The verb stem is heiß and the ending of the infinitive verb is en. When we conjugate this verb, the verb stem does not change at all, and the ending is added according to the subject, that is du. The conjugated verb is heißt. There are some other verbs in which the verb stem changes. Hence heißt has the verb stem heiß plus the ending t. In the next lessons, we will be conjugated few regular and irregular verbs in details. Let us quickly go through some verbs you should know. Regelmäßige Verben. Lernen. Once again, lernen, that means to learn. Spielen. Once again, spielen, that means to play. Wohnen. Once again, wohnen, that means to live. Arbeiten. Once again, arbeiten, that means to work. Studieren. Once again, studieren, that means to study. Kaufen. Once again, kaufen, that means to buy. Unregelmäßige Verben. Denken. Once again, denken, that means to think. Kommen. Once again, kommen, that means to come. Sehen. Once again, sehen, that means to see. Laufen. Once again, laufen, that means to run. Essen. Once again, essen, that means to eat. Schlafen. Once again, schlafen, that means to sleep. So this was the verb structure and some regular and irregular verbs. Danke! Thanks for watching this video. If you like this video, do give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe our channel if you still haven't. Cheers! Auf Wiedersehen!